Welcome back to the channel, another episode of Who Should You Choose, the video series where I go through the prior videos, questions, and comments and help you with your HUT lineup decisions. It is Wednesday, January 22nd. We are getting our first nominees cards in NHL 25. These will be the cards that look like they will offer a discount to the Team of the Year winners. Again, we don't have all the info on how this is going to work. It does look like these nominee cards and everything is going to come out at the normal time of 5 p.m. Eastern time. So if you want to see all of that, be sure to come through the stream. But I'll have a video going over it if you can't. And we'll finally have some sort of understanding how Team of the Year is going to work with the nominee cards. But let's get into Who Should You Choose? And I'll go through some of the questions, all right? So Scott says, hey, Sleeves, I believe they need to bring in a season mode, i.e. Madden. I'll grind MUT seasons all day long because it's not just for XP or stats. The rewards get better deeper into the season, and there's a better feeling trying to win a Super Bowl. I think that if Chell brought out seasons into Rivals, so many more people would stay engaged. They already have Champs, which is essentially Weekend League for Madden. It's just mind-boggling grinding Rivals over and over for no true reward, and I think winning a Stanley Cup would be a massive improvement. Just something to keep in mind. I think what's tough for the NHL player base is that there's a lot of things in game that are good, but the presentation of them is terrible. So what you're describing is just the win rewards that you get in Rivals. So if you win 30 games of Rivals, you get the best pack in the game, essentially, that they give out, right? So that's technically in the game. But there's no, like, graphic on the screen that shows your progress or anything like that. It's just this word vomit, and it looks really ugly. And when you see you have to win 30 games, it's tough. I think that there's definitely a better way to do it, for sure. But that's technically in the game, kind of, to an extent. It's just done in a very ugly way. I kind of wish, like, online seasons was back because, yeah, there was something about getting into the division, but we're already in divisions technically, so I don't know. It's hard to argue when you actually, like, peel back and, like, think about it that the Rivals path for 30 wins is kind of already in there, right? So, hey, Slaves, kind of stuck at the moment. I have Dobson untradeable. Do I make 2 more 2000s cards before Team of the Year if I can, or do I just buy Team of the Year? It depends on the rest of your team. If you have, like, no one else, you just started at, like, maybe after New Year's, then I do recommend for the brand new players to do the 5 trading event because you'll get 5 players. I mean, Belfour wouldn't, but you'll get 4 players that are very good in your lineup. But if not, if you have a decent team, I would probably just hold Dobson, who's very good in his own right, and then just play for Team of the Year. Love playing HUT, but it feels like the games take too long. I'm a huge fan of Wildcard. The 1-period online game is perfect for me. It's honestly disappointing when I max out. Has there ever been an online mode where you could pick the game length? Would love to play 1-period games in my actual team. No. I do think that the 1-minute period or the one game 3-minute period for Wildcard is good. And I think that when Wildcard has, like, not the mascots, for the love of God. The best wildcard week was the Gallery of Greats one when you got multiple master set player items. Like, if wildcard is not going to be a true draft where, like an MLB, where you're drafting every round and every player, and your team is significantly different than everyone else's, for the most part, then what they should do is the cards you're allowed to pick are all master set player items or high-end cards that are released that week. Make Wildcard and the players you use the cards that are the most sought after currently, so that you play with a team of the week card that's 89 overall, like Jordan Stahl, and maybe you like that card, and you're like, okay, now I got to go get him because he is really good, right? Like, that's how Wildcard should be done. I remember with the Gallery of Greats one, when I was testing out, like, Brett Hull and Coffee and Bork, I actually enjoyed it, and I was let down when I was done the reward path, because that was actually an enjoyable way to do it. If they don't do that again and they mess around with Wildcard and they just give you bum 82 overall random players for the most part, like, it's just boring. It's just boring. So, I notice, the other thing, I think that they should get rid of shootouts in Rivals, continuous overtime 3-on-3. Someone will score eventually. And secondly, they should add a shootout mode where you have shootout mode in like off or online versus, essentially. Make a shootout mode in HUT and make that like a reward path, like, that you can work towards. So I notice this all the time when I play a team with lower overall. My players would all of a sudden become extremely sluggish, for example. Closer overalls, not like your team's 90s and other team's 80s, but when I play people with 86 and 85 overalls and I'm using 88 and 89s, my players seem almost slower than theirs, and then they just seem really sluggish, and it's only one. I play a team like that, and a lot of times they end up beating me, and it just drives me nuts. Could be ping, right? Like, it could be ping. I talked about this yesterday, talking about ice tilt and everything like that. Ping is going to dictate a lot of how the game feels. The higher the ping, when you're playing someone that has very low ping, their inputs are just faster. But on top of that, just because a card is higher in overall does not make a card better. Like the 85 base Connor McDavid is better than a majority of the 89 overall cards that are out there. It's the skating that's really going to make up for it. And most times, the players that don't feel sluggish is ones that have high agility, because agility is like your cuts left and right. It's not just your speed stat, but agility is usually very, very important. Would you recommend investing coins into cards prior to Team of the Year or wait for the release? So what I would do now is wait for the nominee cards to come out. And what I think will end up happening is you should open all of your packs that you have saved for Team of the Year during the nominee section, because the nominee cards are going to be lower overalls than whatever the Team of the Year overalls are, and you have a higher chance at pulling them. And if they're going to offer a discount for Team of the Year cards, I would just recommend going that route. You have a much better chance of pulling a nominee card than you would the Team of the Year master player item, right? So it's just always the case. That's probably what I would recommend. But again, just wait and see what happens, because the sets might work completely differently. But I would go with coins. Like, I'm buying 87 overalls for under 50,000 every time I see it. But again, I'd probably just wait given where we are right now. Off-chill topic. Shout out the dogs. Feels good to see the boys having a winning season. Doubt will be solid next year. Are you talking about the Ice Dogs? Dude, the Ice Dogs championship windows next year. And after 5 years of the Ice Dogs being one of the worst teams in Canada, it is absolutely awesome for the city and the team. And I can't wait for next year when the Ice Dogs have 2 first-round NHL draft picks on the roster. So, be very exciting. Some wild takes today, Sleeves. Many pro players have left NHL 25 because they cannot score due to BS situations in game. Let's not call it ice tilt. Hockey is definitely not the game most reliant on connection. There are a bunch of other games with multiplayer game modes. There is FIFA with 11 versus 11 players. Sticks still go through boards, and clipping happens in NHL. The game is bad code and should be made from scratch. Appreciate the comment. Lot of just incorrect takes here. The reason why pro players have left NHL 25 has nothing to do with that they can't score in NHL 25. It's in fact infinitely easier to score in this year's game than prior year's game because of the unscreened D to the one-timer. Many pro players left NHL 25 because there was nothing to play for. Hut champs and being a top in rivals does not mean much to the best players in the world. They don't get their competitive itch scratched because the Gaming World Championship no longer exists. That's it. So the top-end players that are still left and still play, they just love playing Hut, and they're what would be considered, it's back toward before GWC was Hut, when it was run by like 5 players. This is a long time ago, so if anyone was around, like Getzlaff was one. It's Game Time was another. These guys just grinded Hut, and because there was no super high-end tournaments, the best players in the world just didn't play it, really. A lot of them just play versus for money games now. That's the reason why, not because they can't score. Hockey is definitely not the game most reliant on connection. There are definitely other games that connection is important, but even in FIFA, the game overall moves at a slower pace than hockey, than the NHL. You go end to end in the NHL video game in under 4 seconds, right? Not that connection doesn't matter a lot in FIFA. I'm not saying that, but we're 2 different things here. Like the impact on connection, every single time you stick check, every single time you use a vision control, every time you shoot, every time you make a pass, all inputs that are extremely quick because the game is happening much faster. Sticks still go through boards, and clipping happens in NHL. That's because the stick-in physics was taken out, it looks like, and reverted back prior to NHL 22. The stick and physics I wish was still in the game because I thought that, had they improved upon that, it would be great. The code is awful and it should be made from scratch, but it's a year-round game, and the NHL dev team is more like an indie dev team just owned by EA, which makes everyone think that they have this billion-dollar thing. They don't. They have a very small dev team because it's a very small piece of EA. Appreciate the comment, though. As someone who goes 1-22-2 in online Hut Rush every week, I can assure you there is no ice tilt. Tom, you're doing the Lord's work, brother. Keep at it, dude. You'll get there. Can EA stop doing threes wildcard? It's the least fun game mode in the game. Goalies are garbage and the gameplay is horrendous. Sliders are jacked up and whoever gets luckiest wins. Zero skill involved. If someone presses circle or B near you, you're launched off the puck. It's meant to be just super arcadey. It's obviously meant to for the lack of seriousness. I just think that a lot of hockey fans, there's more that don't love the unseriousness of that, myself included. But there is definitely a section of the player base out there that enjoys it. You just don't hear from them because they're not competitive, right? That is what it is. Greetings from Denmark. Bonjour. Hey, Slaves, need some help in what to do with my team. Got the game in late December. I'm free to play. My team is McKinnon, Sakic, Miller, Hull, Gretzky, Yager. How do you have the Hull? I'm assuming there was money spent here. I'm a big Pens fan, and I like to have my favorite players on the team. Okay, well then, you definitely keep all your Pens, always, but you're just waiting for a team of the year, bro. You have a great team, by the way, for starting late December, by the way. Like, very well done. But your team is stacked. Like, there's no reason to really go and get a replacement. Just wait for team of the year. Hey, Sleeves, I just wanted to say my opinion for the team of the year collectible. If you look back at the fantasy event, the power-up XP cards were 80s, and the max trade-in for one were 80s too. For the World Junior Championship Fantasy event, the power-up cards were 83s, just like the Fantasy Collectible trade-in 1-for-1. With the new power-up XP cards being 85, I think the trade-in 1-for-1 might be 85. If it's 85, people are going to make out like bandits. There's a risk if they make Team of the Year too cheap, because that's all everyone has. I hope they do allow us to make... They're going to allow us to make one for free. I would almost guarantee that. If it's 85s, man, we're laughing because everyone's been investing in 86s and 87s, and hopefully there's a trade-in that allows for more. But if it's just 85s, oh my God, 86 and 87s are going to crater in price. Hey, Slaves, been stuck in Div 3 for a while. No matter how many games I win, I'll have an absolute stinker of a day where I just can't win. That's why I'm stuck, and that's on me. But I wish there was different aspects of the game that affects how much XP you earn from an online game. Like dekes performed, passes made, hits laid, goals scored, etc., block shots. It sucks when you're on a heater and playing better than usual and not getting rewarded for your performance. I don't hate that. I think that everything in game that is tracked should have an XP to it. So like getting a shot on goal should give you 10 XP, right? Like I agree with that. There should be something that, gives you a little bit more XP than just the static for the win or the loss or whatever, right? I agree with you on there. I think that if they keep developing the objectives and things like that, it should be all XP based, not based on totals. Best goalies, 86, is that Damian Clara seems to be the new meta. Any goalie that is big, so over 6'3", and the highest speed rating. That's really it. Other than that, it's the last position you should worry about on your team. Find whatever Markstrom works for you. It's usually a safe way to go about it. So, oh my God, Team of the Year is here. Can't wait to get McDavid, McKinnon, and Makar again. Whoopee. It's one big issue with Team of the Year is that it's really the same players more than likely. It's very difficult for them to now Makar, there could be argument for some, like Kucherov and Draisaitl is an argument. Bouchard and Makar is definitely an argument. But McDavid and McKinnon, you can look at the options and be like, okay. And then it ends up being the same. And then what ends up happening is because this is the most popular event, those players are always just the first line. And it's like every team is like that, for the whole year. Like if you were to go back and look at your team every year, if you play, not competitively, but you play the game to build your team to give yourself a competitive edge, you're going to end up with a majority of the same players. I thought getting 2 random fantasy guys was awesome. Palmieri and Hartman looked like they progressed decently, but both have been so bad. That's tough, dude. That's a tough 2 to get, for sure. Ace Slaves. I think I'll be able to make one team of the year for sure. Who should I make? This is my lineup: Mac, Eisman, McDavid, Hayduke, Thornton, Gretzky, Barzal, Barkov, Kucherov. He's got ASP and Hedman, Blake, Keller, Breezewell, Coffee. I mean, you have to wait and see who wins it, right? Like if Mac and McDavid do it depends if you have his McDavid's X factor or not. Like I don't know, right? We have to see. You definitely, I think, have a very good forward group. So you might want to go with a defenseman, but your team is pretty stacked, but you got to wait and see who wins it first. I've been playing off and on since the start, and I have a decent team free to play. I think I have enough for one team of the year, a forward and defenseman. I'm pretty set on McDavid and McCarr, but any tips would be helpful. He's got Shanahan, Thornton, Zucker. You definitely want to go center. You've got Thornton and Miller, which are fine centers, but you got them for free. See, like, if McDavid gets like 95 faceoffs or something, that would probably be it. Like, you definitely need centerman. That's where I would put my focus for sure. And I'm trying to think if there was any. Need Shanahan. In terms of defense, given what your decor is, I'd probably go with a right-hander. So whoever wins, if McCarr gets it, then go with McCarr for sure. Lieutenant Jim Dangle was the best shell player ever. We got an OG versus leaderboard grinder here. Grinder. Anyone that used to be top 100 in versus leaderboards back in the day, Lieutenant Jim Dangle was one of the best, and I agree. He might be the best shell player of all time, but Regsy is an alien. I can confirm that. Just a comment. This also got 26 likes. I wanted to address this. Just a comment on the content on your channel. I would like to see a higher frequency of no money spent like in previous years. In the past couple of games, you put out multiple per week, and the editing has been really funny. Just feels like that series has taken a backseat this year, and I'd like to see it return to its prime. The Simpsons memes and editing style were the best in the past. Bro, I 1000% agree, and it's like my biggest anxiety is that I can't pump those videos out a ton because I'm streaming a lot more. So I do the morning streams where I go over all the NHL content. Usually, or the NHL, we watch all the replays. And those like 2.5 hour streams where I record this video too, usually only last like a couple months because then I got to put effort into YouTube. The hardest part is that I'm a content creator that is not just a full-time YouTuber. I love editing, but the one thing about being a full-time streamer and streaming at least 5 to 6 hours a day is that I don't have enough time in the day. However, I've come up with a format that I think might work. What I'm going to do is try and stick. I'm going to make at least one a week, and I was going to make my No Money Spent video today, but I think I'll just wait for for Team of the Year to come out. That being said, what I'm going to do is spend a half an hour to an hour every day on the video so that you get like my best editing I can do. But instead of having to sit down for like 3 hours on one day or 5 hours on one day, I'll do it over the course of a week. So that way, hopefully the videos are longer, they're way better edited. But for the first 2 seasons, guys, I had an editor, Trevor, who was unbelievable. I love editing, and financially it didn't make sense. So I just wanted to bring that up because I saw 26 likes. I wish I could do it more, but it's definitely going to be a focus of mine because I like editing and making those videos. It's just a time thing, man. Since I became a dad, and I stream so much, it's very difficult. So I'm with you though. Hey, Sleeves, I know these don't get picked often since it's more personal based than shared with the community, but I have 250,000 coins. Would you suggest saving it while we don't know the full details of Team of the Year, or spend it for fodder? Prices go up during the event, so maybe better find some fodder before then. Thanks for the awesome content. Keep the videos up. Wait until the nominee thing comes out, and then we'll make your decision. You might as well just wait for that. You do usually want to go into the event by spending your coins prior, but we'll get a much better look at how Team of the Year is going to work once the nominee stuff comes out. So that's what I would recommend. So, I'm 7 base X factors away from McDavid. I have 300,000 coins. Should I stop making them until the cards drop Friday? No, I would. McDavid's. My fear. I have such a fear over what they're going to do with McDavid's Team of the Year. I actually have a concern as someone who spent 3 months making McDavid. McDavid's price to make him will not go up because 75s aren't impacted anywhere else. And the fear about McDavid is that if they make his Team of the Year card better than his X Factor, it's just a sickening feeling for the hardcore players that spend time getting that McDavid card. But we'll wait and see, Anyways, I would probably, you're safe. I think you're safe no matter what. I think that's because the 75 overalls only go into McDavid, nothing else yet. So that's going to do it for this episode of Who Should You Choose? Thank you guys again for all the comments and the follows. If you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe, notifications on. That way you get your chance to get your question answered in the next video. I'll see you guys next time. Have a good one.